Hello, lovely, wonderful human beings. I am a little bit warm now, but it was cold outside. It's getting cold out there, although we still don't have snow. I can see the snow up the mountains, but we still have no snow, which makes me a little sad. I put up Christmas lights. The Christmas lights make me happy because I'm feeling very festive this year, and there's no snow. There's my little first ramble of today's post. Off to a good start. And check out my Hello Neighbor shirt. Isn't it adorable? I think it's adorable. Anyway, today's post has nothing to do with my little intro. Today's post has to do with applying a positive mental attitude to your life. And I wrote a blog post about this. So I'm gonna leave a link to that, so feel free to check that out as well, because it'll probably be a little bit more concise and easier to read than listening to my babble. But I know a lot of you really enjoy my videos, so I thought I would do a video on this topic as well. First off, applying a positive mental attitude to my life has been one of my greatest lessons that I ever learned, because everything in life, it depends on your perspective. It depends on how you are going to look at a situation. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what the situation is that's around you. It doesn't matter what shithole you have landed yourself in. What matters at the end of the day is your attitude. And there's a quote that I love that's really simple, and it's, if you can't change your situation, change your attitude. And it just basically nails this whole concept. Changing your situation is great, but you can't always do that. It's not always available to you, but you can always, always, always change your attitude towards that situation. And the reason that this concept works, this way of living and this way of thinking works, is because there are always different ways of looking at a situation. There are always different perspectives and perceptions. If you don't believe me, a great example is basically taking any one situation where multiple people are involved, and if you took each one of those individuals aside and asked them their perception of a situation that just went on, especially if it's an argument, you will get different answers from every single one of those people. And it just goes to show that perception is absolutely everything. It is the exact same argument that they're talking about, but they will all view it differently. And that is how our perception on anything around us will transform our life. And it dictates the way that we view things, the way we live, basically transforms any one of our moods into something happy or something awful. So any situation, what sounds like a better idea? To look at it with a bad attitude and only see the negative points in it, or to look at it positively and to try and find a good solution and all the positive things that are happening because of the situation. It's all perception. It's all the way you look at it. The happiest people in the world don't have the best of everything. They make the most of everything. And I know that this is true because being someone who has been suicidally depressed, has gone through that stage in my life while shit was going on and while I could have been perfectly happy. But my attitude made it so that everything sucked all the time. Now, if you fast forward to my current life, or even, I think a good example is about 2 years ago now, where I was my happy, blissful state in my life. I couldn't have been happier. I was walking on clouds. But the thing is that this is when it was a period of my life when things were going awfully wrong, and there was a lot of family stuff going on, and it was one of the worst points where the actual things going around me were the worst they had ever been. But my attitude, it was so good. I was able to stay so positive that I maintained the happiest state of my life, and I was blissful and I was happy, and it just didn't get me down. Because of that, I could also see the situation from a more level head, and I was just way more useful to the people around me. So change your attitude, it'll change your life. Another fantastic example of this, I feel like, is I'm going to share this story of, this happened just over a year ago. And my partner's last apartment, it was a duplex, and we live in the Kootenays, For people that don't know what that is, we are surrounded by mountains. We basically live on the side of a mountain. And we lived in town, which is still on the side of a mountain. And we lived right by the lake. So we're at the bottom of the mountain. And this flash flood went through town, and you could literally row a canoe down the street. And this flood came down, and one of the city pipes burst, and our yard was a river, not exaggerating, was a river. Our basement was flooded in several feet of water, to the point that we didn't actually know what was going on down there for quite a while. And our living room was just, it was caked in mud and gross water, and it was a disaster, complete disaster. So coming into that, of course, panic was the first thing that set in, panic and frustration. So we tackled the situation. We had no choice but to start trying to clean up, so we started to try and clean up our place. While the fire department was outside pumping the water out of our basement and out of our yard. And during all of this fiasco, we couldn't get a hold of our landlord, and we couldn't get a hold of him for several days after. So during this little phase at first, of course, was frustration and panic. But once that kind of settled, we realized that there was no point to it. That attitude wasn't getting us anywhere. And fortunately, me and my partner are on the same page. We've learned a lot of the same lessons, so we understand what a positive attitude does, and we know how the law of attraction works. So we started writing the list of things that we were grateful for was one of the first things. First, our cats were safe. That was a really big thing for me because I wasn't home when it happened, and I came home to it fairly quickly after, but our cats were safe. Another thing was that the insurance company was going to cover us, so anything that got damaged in the flood was going to be fixed. There were lots of little things, and the other big thing though was that it was an excuse to move, which we'd been looking and thinking about doing for a while, and this was the perfect incentive because our place was literally uninhabitable anymore. It was a wreck. So we had to look for a new place, and we had a month to do it. And we were in a lease, but because of the flood, our landlord couldn't tell us we couldn't leave the place. So it was our way out of our lease. So list of things to be grateful for was down. And next was to change our perspective and to look for the positive solution. In any situation, I think those are the steps you should go through is once you get the despair and panic and bad feelings down, you can move on to a list of gratitude, and then you can change your perception and look for the good in that situation, and that often involves finding a positive solution. For us, the positive solution was a new home. So we started looking. We had less than a month to do this, if I remember correctly, and there were times when it was a little harder to be positive than others, but we never settled, and we looked at several different places that just weren't right. I wrote down a list of all the things that I wanted in our new place, and Corey did the same thing. And as soon as we had both written down our lists of what we wanted in our new place, and we kind of compared our lists to make sure we were both on the same page. Once we'd made our lists, and we'd given ourselves a price range as well for what we wanted to be paying for rent, our place came. We are now living in our dream home pretty much. Like everything we wrote on that list is here. And if it's not here, it's a slight variation or something that maybe is a mixed blessing because we weren't ready for something that was on that list. And our landlords are the most amazing people ever, and I couldn't be happier to live here. I feel so blessed to be here, and it's a wonderful home. We're in our price range that we asked for, and it was a miracle that we found this place. This was thanks to the law of attraction, and it was thanks to our patience, and it was thanks to a change in our attitudes. So this shitty situation all of a sudden was a blessing. It was a good thing, and it moved us forward. Any negative situation, you can choose to look at it negatively or you can look at it positively. And to me, looking at something positively is a way better solution than looking at something negatively. Think positive and it will change your life, guaranteed. You're allowed to get frustrated and down when something initially happens. I think those are automatic reactions, but you don't want to stay in that place. You want to climb back up and you want to get that awesome attitude under your belt so that you can change your life and seek out the positive, see the positive, because it is there. It's in every situation. Trust me, because I have sought it out in the most awful situations. But you can find a positive in absolutely everything. So do it. You have a choice. You have a choice. Just as happiness is a choice, finding the positive in things is part of that choice. So do it. A positive mental attitude will change your life. I promise you that. And it may take practice, but it's always worth it. So do it. That is my ramble for today. I feel like that was fairly organized compared to usual. So it's still a long post. Thank you for sticking around through till the end and listening to my stories and listening to my little life lessons that I've learned along my journey. I hope it has left you inspired. I hope it has left you smiling and thinking positively and wanting to change your life. And as always, I love you guys so much. Here's another one of those awkward hugs. Whee! My hugs for you guys. Feel that? I hope you can feel that. That's a hug for you guys. I'm hungry. I'm gonna go eat. So, have an awesome, fantastic day. Remember to think positively and smile. I love you guys so, so, so much.